I am Microsoft Sam and this is my Microsoft Jam. What's the West Indies diaspora? Immigration en masse to England from the West Indies. What's punk rock, angst? What's that got to do with diaspora? Everything. The West Indies diaspora was caused by two things. WW2 and the British Nationality Act of 1948. What's the Nationality Act? Glad you asked. It gave British citizenship to all the Commonwealth colonies of the British Empire. But why would anyone want to come to Britain? It's cold, and the food is crappy. WW2 had created a shortage of job labor, so England advertised good wages and a better life to entice their new citizens to come to England. Wow, that sounds great. It wasn't. Immigrants had a hard time finding work because Britain is white and also racist. They also had a hard time finding places to live, because there were no houses. Many places also barred the immigrants from entering their buildings. Wonder where they got that idea from. Race tensions got so bad that there were riots in the cities. Places like London, Birmingham, and Nottingham were attacked by white people because white people be cray. But the immigrants living in Nottingham created a festival called the Notting Hill Carnival to promote positive race relations. It didn't work. Let's place the majority of the blame on the National Labour Party. What's the National Labour Party? The party campaigned on a platform of white nationalism, anti-Semitism, and opposition to non-white immigration. Now it's 1962, and things have gotten better, right? Wrong. The Commonwealth Immigrants Act was passed and restricted immigration. 10 years later, only holders of work permits, or people with parents or grandparents born in the United Kingdom, could gain entry. Now it's the 70s, and you know what that means. Thatcherism. Margaret Thatcher gets elected, and she's very tough. So tough they call her the Iron Lady. She's done a lot, but we're focusing on homogeneous England. England can only have one culture and language if it is to survive the Cold War. In response, the Afro-Caribbean community experienced a cultural boom. Reggae, ska, and R&B were suddenly a part of Britain's mainstream music. How does this involve the punk genre? Punk music has two roots: rock and roll and reggae. Punk in England was a part of Malcolm McLaren's fashion advertisement. He owned a shop called Sex, and created and managed the Sex Pistols, making punk synonymous with ripped clothing, leather, and studs, which his shop sold. Then punk split in two. On one side were the rock and roll rooted punks, poor white working youth, and the reggae rooted art students, who were more culturally aware. And that's where the clash comes in. Britain during the 70s was crappy. Missteps in the Middle East lead to gas shortages and rationing, along with inflation and unemployment, which affected the minorities and working youth. Then Margaret Thatcher was elected in 1975. And she pissed off the lower and middle classes, because she didn't care about them. Then in 1976, the Notting Hill Carnival experienced a police crackdown, which leads to a riot. At this point West Indian culture was saturating the protest culture that helped create punk rock. And now we are at the culmination of West Indian diaspora and punk rock. In 1976, Rock Against Racism was born, as a concert involving reggae and punk rock musicians to sing anti-racist songs.